Greetings and salutations to you all once again. It is me, the Ravenous Spectre, and this is the Journey Onward series, which is my week in gaming. This week has been pretty much the same as it was last week, dealing with Far Cry 4 and Far Cry Primal, but I actually did take advantage of a sale that was going on, a flash sale, I should say, that was happening on PlayStation Network, as a matter of fact, this past weekend. And I believe it was this past weekend. I can't get times right sometimes. Sometimes I fuck them up, but whatever. As long as you know they happen, that's when they happen. Fuck times and fuck dates, whatever. It happened recently. I think it was this past weekend. Anyways, bottom line, I ended up scooping up a few deals, as a matter of fact, on there. One in particular was Metro 2033, which was actually a remake or a remaster of a PC game that had never came out. At least I don't think they ever came out on the original consoles of PS3 and 360. Last Light did, but then it got remastered and brought over to Xbox One and PS4, I believe, and so did the PC versions for whatever they could remaster for those. I don't really know when it came to the PC version per se, but got a little ways into that. Haven't gotten too far. I've just kind of really been testing them out to see if I really like them or not. I got them like really cheap, and of course, everybody needs a Tetris game in their life, and I kind of got that for me and my girlfriend to play, and also some other friends whenever we get around and can kind of just play some really old school gaming in a new school light, if you will. And that was, I think it was Tetris Ultimate or Ultra Ultimate Tetris or Tetris Ultra or something. Anyways, but there was that, and then there was Metro, and I also ended up buying Zombie as well on the PlayStation Network. Because I had it once when I was playing on PlayStation Plus because it was one of their free games some odd months ago. And honestly, I really did like it. I found myself constantly playing it, which I also have it on the Wii U, but I like it on the PS4 better. I like it not having to look at my screen on my controller and then look back up, back and forth to the TV. But people are like, oh, but that brings about the tension with the... Man, fuck that. I want to be able to have the ability to play it like it's supposed to be played. I just want to be able to use the controller and focus on the screen the entire time and run my finger across the touchpad on there. I guess you can do that with the map or also do that with the inventory or whatever. But no, I don't want to do this all the whole time. People can talk about tension all they want to. If they want to get a creak in their neck or throw their head off the back of their shoulders or whatever, that's all them. That ain't me. But the thing is that I haven't gone back to playing it just yet, but I'm glad that I got it because, you know, the hell with PS Plus. I'm not messing with it anymore. So it's much better for me to go ahead and spend, I think it was like $4 or $5 to get it, than it is for me to go and spend $60 for a year worth of shit and just, flush it down the toilet just to get access to that one game. So anyways, I got that. I got the Metro one. I got the Tetris one. And I believe the last two that I got was of the Assassin's Creed Chronicle series. I already had China, and I ended up getting India and Russia. I just started out playing those, and there's been mixed feelings upon it. A lot of people say it's kind of subpar. Some more people, well, not more people, but some people liked it a little bit more than other ones did, and other ones liked it lesser. So it's kind of like a middle of the road kind of thing. A lot of people would say that China was better, but then again, there's some different gameplay implementations that happen in India and Russia. I think more so Russia, because I think Russia was the last one. But anyways, got all these deals that these deals. Yeah, they were deals. I got all these games on the cheap on PlayStation Network with their flash sale that they had going on, and besides dealing with Far Cry 4 and Primal and whatnots and Tales of Zestiria, I also ended up getting Tales of I can't even say the name right. Berseria. It's Berseria or Berseria. I think it's Berseria. But anyways, honestly, really been enjoying that. Heard a lot of positive things about it. Heard the story was more mature. It was a little bit more darker this time around. Also heard that the intro was probably the best intro ever in a Tales series. And while I haven't played all of the Tales games, I can honestly say it's definitely one of them. I think I'm probably, God knows, I think I'm probably about anywhere between 14 to 16 hours into it, I think. Somewhere around that line. But I'm honestly really liking it. It's really cool. It's very colorful. It's very vibrant. Of course, the Tale series mainly also kind of focuses around party interactions with one another and different skits that you see with them interacting with one another and the different personal stories and things that they tell. But it's definitely definitely cool. I'm obviously going to continue with it. And I still need to get back to Continuous Hysteria. I need to finish that because I got a really good head start on it. And then Berseria came out, and I'm just like, I want to play Berseria. And sure enough, I have been, and really do like it without a shadow of a doubt. It's been awesome. It really has. I really do like how there's more of a deal where you're dealing with souls, if you will, like different. You can, I think it's like you can actually gain souls from enemies that you fight to be able to increase your attack gauge, and you can do different attacks. And as this gauge depletes, it can fill up again. You know, kind of like how it is in some of the older Tales of games, where if you guard or you run around on the battle map, you can refill your gauge for you to be able to fight more, put out more moves. It's kind of like that, but then again, it seems to me, well, all the Tales of games, at least in terms of battle, have been all about fast-paced combat and all of that. And this one seems like it's just as faster, if not a little bit more visceral, I guess. Maybe that's just me because I've loved all the Tales games for sure. But yeah, really liking the main protagonist as well. She's the first female main protagonist. She's definitely really awesome. It's kind of funny how you see how she just seems like she's all innocent and pure at one point, and then she becomes dark and full of hatred and just somber and cold the next point, and she was all warm and inviting the first time, and it's just kind of a nice transition. But I'm not going to spoil anything because you can kind of see that in the previews, but if you know what happens to her and see what happens, and you can understand why she is the way that she is. But it's definitely a game worth playing without a shadow of a doubt. But let's see. The next game in the last one that I have been playing, which I haven't really played too much of, but I actually watched an hour and a half demo of, and yeah, I probably really shouldn't have done that, but I guess I really needed something to make me believe that I needed to play this game, and that's Resident Evil 7. There's been so much buzz about it. A lot of my friends have gotten it. A lot of my friends have been playing it and talking about it. And I've never been a fan of the Resident Evil series. I've tried to play them, and it never worked for me, especially with the older games and the tank controls. I hated it. And I've heard that was actually the reason behind, I believe, the PlayStation's one's hardware at that point in time. I guess it was like they couldn't help it with the tank controls, with the other things that they wanted to implement into the game itself, so they had to do it that way. I'm not necessarily sure. I heard that from somewhere, though. And so they had to have the character move like that. But it was great when analog controls came out. You could just run all over the place, especially with the remasters, get it, RE masters, whatever, of I think it was Zero and Resident Evil, the first one, if you will, the remake of a remake, as it was called. They came out on Nintendo GameCube. Well, they actually put in analog controls and all of that. I'm not sure if it was in the GameCube version or not, but it was good that they actually put them in these two remakes, if you will. And honestly, the only the only two Resident Evil games that I played and that I've beaten has been Code Veronica, and it's also been Resident Evil 4. I think it was 4. Yeah, it was 4. I think I might have cheated in both of those, as a matter of fact, to get to the end of them, I believe. But all the other ones that I've tried, they never worked out for me or nothing like that. And then when Resident Evil 7 came along, I'm like, damn, this looks scary as hell. And in a way, I kind of thought if maybe Resident Evil 7 was just kind of like it might have been a different game before PT came out, and then when Konami shit the bed with PT, they ended up turning around and just making Resident Evil 7 kind of like a PT-ish kind of thing. For Silent Hills, as it would have been known, but I'm not really sure. But from what I've played so far, and also from what I've seen, this thing is scary. This thing is fucked up. It is messed up, dude. They have really, from what I've experienced and what I've seen and all of that, they've really gone back to the roots of Resident Evil, which is what everybody has been wanting. And while I've never been into that, seeing it in this light and trying it out like this, it seems like it's freaking awesome. It really is. It freaks the hell out of you, which it should. But I've avoided trying to look at any, because I was unsure if I was even going to buy it. At this point in time, I was going to wait. I was going to get it because I want to experience it for myself, and I was just going to watch a playthrough on YouTube. But overall, man, I'm like, dude, I got to experience this. I had to go ahead and get it and start playing it. I love the way it controls. And honestly, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm a pussy. I cranked up the brightness on there just high enough to the point to where I could see more of the environments in the landscape besides just my flashlight I have on in front of me, but not so much to the point where it washes everything out in white and you just see white everywhere because you turn up the brightness and it looks like shit. And I think that's actually one notch before you get to the maximum brightness. Now, I can drop down one more notch and be like, two notches below the maximum brightness, just so that I can still get that whole real dark and gloomy feel. But overall, the way that I feel, I'm probably going to stick where I'm at right now because it still looks good. Everything looks fine. It's like I can really see everything, and my flashlight amplifies that a bit, but it isn't washed out if it was cranked all the way up. I don't know if it's a game or if it's my TV or whatever the case may be, but it seems like it's just perfect for me now. So, the hell with people that are like, you should play it dark. I don't want to play it dark. I bought the damn game. I'm going to play it how I want to play it. If they put the brightness setting in there, I'm going to set it where I want to set it, however my TV settings are or whatever, and I'm going to play it just like that. But it's really an experience. It's crazy, man. It kind of seems like it has those vibes where it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Saw series, and I guess maybe like The Hills Have Eyes or something like that, which honestly, I've only seen a few of the Saw films. I never really watched all the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then there's the Hills Have Eyes, which I never watched those. Actually, I believe I had watched, I don't know if it was the newest one or the old one, started to watch some of it in the very beginning with a friend of mine that had rented it, and I was like, you know what, I can't watch this anymore. I was like, the hell with this shit. I was like, no, I'm not watching this shit. And so it kind of seems like that's kind of the horror tropes that it's going with, kind of like those three film franchises, if you will. But from what I've seen, it pulls it off really well. It really does. And it's insane. I honestly highly suggest, if you guys are interested at all in the Resident Evil series, well, obviously, if you're interested, you're going to get it or you already bought it and played it and beaten it anyways. But if you're wondering, like, oh, well, I never really been in the Resident Evil series, 6 made me kind of sour, I didn't like the tank controls of the older games and all of that. If you just look at it, obviously, from a different perspective with it being in first person, give it a shot. See, watch some playthroughs, watch some reviews and whatnot, and see what you think if you're really interested in wanting to try out the Resident Evil series and seeing where it goes. But I will warn you, there is some freaky as hell stuff in here, and it will make you cringe, and it will just make you go, holy shit, and just all of that, which is what they should have been aiming for in the first place. It makes perfect sense that that's what it should have been in the first place, and that's exactly what it is, and that's what it should be, knowing it's a survival horror game. But anyways, I've rambled on long enough, so I'm going to go ahead and end this now. But yeah, definitely give Tales of Berseria a shot. Definitely give Resident Evil 7 a shot. And all that jazz and whatnot. But anyways, I will talk at you taters later. Later, taters. I'm sorry for it being kind of abrupt or whatever, but I'm about ready to run out of time for me to fit video footage on my phone before it's like, fuck you, Justin, I'm going to turn off now. And then it turns off and everything is just more abrupt than what it is right now with me kind of being abrupt. But I'm trying to give a proper outro. Anyways, I will talk at you taters later. Later, taters.